Well, full time at the Bay Arena 1-1. Arsenal 1 and Bayern Leverkusen 1. Guys, I never really thought that Arsenal will obviously find this game this hard. I knew to it that they are playing a team that in the last 3 games, they haven't obviously gone ahead, obviously concede a goal, meaning that they are hard to really score against. And who am I talking about? I'm talking about a team known as Bayern Leverkusen. But shockingly, I've just gone ahead to say something that I think I can partially blame it on Arteta, because you saw to it that when Arsenal was 1 goal down, they're not willing to play, and I think they're like, let's park the bus and we will obviously capitalize on the pace of Martinelli or Bukayo Saka or Gyökeres and obviously find out one clear-cut chance to see to it that we kill off this game of football, you get? But Bayern Leverkusen never at any one point really felt like they are gonna really play a very beautiful high line that would obviously enable Arsenal. And the pressing they obviously went ahead to make as Bayern Leverkusen couldn't obviously see Arsenal really make a couple of passes through the central axis and then spread it wide to either Bukayo Saka or Gabriel Martinelli. So welcome to the Rokani Media Football. How are you guys and where are you watching us from? I go by the names of Rokan David. Smash like button, comment and share. If you're totally watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Rokan David is my name and hope you guys are really having super fun wherever you are. And this is the beautiful channel that brings you your football news. Apart from Manchester United, those that really want to know what we do with Man United, just go ahead and visit a platform known as United Matters channel. That's where you get us. And we obviously come and broadcast to the fullest. And we bring you the best of the best as far as the game of football is really concerned. Guys, we are powered by St. Maria Goret SS Katende. And admissions are open, so you can register via that number. You can do the needful and obviously contact them via that email or their website, and you will obviously get to know what exactly good education is. They're a school that you have to look at for, and after looking out for it, then you will thank me later, I tell you, because it's not a school for being undermined. It's a school that brings you religion, and that means they will obviously get you a God-fearing student or child. Co-curricular activities in plenty. Check out onto their grades on how they really performed via their website. In the recently concluded Senior 4, I think there is USC, the S6 results and S4 results of last year. You will get amazed and you'll be like, I should take my child to this school. You understand? So that is it for St. Maria Goret SS Katende, and let's get into the business. Arsenal came into this game of football, and I tell you the fact is they had the best chance of the game. You get, in the entire game, that chance of Martinelli that was denied to get to the back of the net by the crossbar. It was really the best chance that anyone could have ever gotten into that particular game, and you will all agree with me that that was the best chance of this particular encounter for the club of Arsenal in there for you. So Arsenal didn't possess the game, in the first half especially. You get, and you can call it a game of 2 halves. And for us to obviously get at least to see what Arsenal can do, it required a team known as Bayern Leverkusen to take a lead in the 46th minute through a set piece, in one of the deadly match happenings that Arsenal has continuously gone ahead to obviously create a lot of threat, and gotten very many goals when they're obviously facing their opponents. It's where Robert Andrich went ahead to obviously find himself into the back post and hit that ball in the back of the net. But the defending was sloppy, and I'm like, how does Arsenal really defend like that? Because when you look at most of the goals that Arsenal have gone ahead to score in the set pieces, they all start from the far post. They either converge around the back post before that cross is being brought in, and they obviously make different runs into the mouth of the goal. All else, a player at the far post heads that ball back into the mouth of the goal, like you saw that goal that Saliba really scored, I think against Chelsea. Gabriel Magalhaes came up and really squared that ball in there and resulted into that. So that is what this is obviously made of. And Arsenal really conceded that, and I'm like, Arsenal really concedes such corners. It really concedes such. And a question has to be raised onto how far Arsenal can go. You get? Obviously, they had to obviously raise that and see how far Arsenal can go. Because to me, it was really shocking to see Arsenal really concede a goal like that. But after conceding a goal like that, I think that's when we obviously had to get what we call some good football. We saw Arsenal playing what we call a proper high line, Arsenal having possession, Arsenal being threat at goal, crosses from Martinelli, and when the manager went ahead to obviously get out a player called Bukayo Saka, and he brought on Noni Madueke, a lot of things went ahead to change. And if you remember the game of Man United versus Arsenal, I told you that Arteta was the reason as why he went ahead to obviously see himself lose that game. How could you keep Bukayo Saka, who was struggling in that entire game, and then you shift him onto the side where he's not really used to? If a player has failed to operate, in his best position, that is the right forward, So you think he can come up and really operate better in a position where he last played well, I think in like 7 years, I think that doesn't happen that way. You understand? That doesn't happen that way. I must tell you. So, when you look at everything that is really happening at the club of Arsenal, I think today he has been a man who learned from his mistakes. That's why he took off Bukayo Saka and brought on Noni Madueke. You get? Brought on Kai Havertz, you understand, to do the needful, and I think he took off Ebelechi Eze and took off Gyökeres and brought on Gabriel Jesus. And you saw to it that for us not to get their equalizer through a penalty, in the 89th minute, you know what happened? He brought on players whose movements are really world class. Gabriel Jesus, his mobility levels are really out of this world. And I was like, if Arteta is serious and he wants to win this game of football, there are things that he has to be doing. And what are those things? You can't really let your most experienced player in the Champions League, I'm talking about Gabriel Jesus, play no minute in this game. Though he brought him on, it was good, but I think Gyökeres, 60 minutes, he was off. And I think Jesus deserved some 60 minutes in this game of football to obviously create something from nothing. With how compactfully Bayern Leverkusen looked, all what Arsenal needed was a player like Kai Havertz. They needed a Noni Madueke on the pitch. They needed a Gabriel Jesus. You get? So, when Gabriel Jesus, Kai Havertz, Noni Madueke came on, you saw the threat increasing at the goal area of Bayern Leverkusen, and they obviously gave away a penalty because they couldn't obviously sustain how these players came up and obviously created moments of magic in there for you, and we attacked them left, right, and center. So the game is now 1-1. That means whoever wins it at Emirates will obviously get through to the round of round of 8. And remember, even the last outing they had in the Champions League in 2002, it ended 1-1. You get? And I think by that time Arsenal scored first, and these guys really levered, I think, at the 88th minute in there. That is Bayern Leverkusen. But the result will be settled at the Emirates. And I think last time Arsenal went ahead to beat them by 4-1. That is in 2002. Now we wait to see how far can Arsenal go. But the other point I want to hint on is all about Martinelli really looked good today. I really liked him because I know when there's spaces, Martinelli will do you football. He might even look like a prime Mbappe, you get? But when the spaces are really compact, he doesn't really act well. Now, I want to hint on to the absence of Martin Odegaard. I think today, you've now known why Arsenal needs Martin Odegaard. You get? When you're playing teams with such high quality players and compact in the central axis, you obviously have to understand how things really pan out. And it really creates lots and lots and lots and lots of memories in there to obviously create magical moments for this particular encounter. So, Odegaard, that's why you saw Kai Havertz came in through and really played into the midfield, because I was really pissed off at first. Where would you play Kai Havertz as a centre forward when you have Gabriel Jesus? Get onto players. Get Kai Havertz onto play as a number 10. Get Gabriel Jesus to play as a number 9. And the rest would have gone to be history. If he had done that, and these players played together for 20 minutes, I assure you, Arsenal would have gone ahead to obviously win this game. I tell you this. They would have gone ahead to obviously win this game of football, because it is known that Kai Havertz scored a winner that gave Chelsea Champions League in 2001, so 2021. And Jesus is one of those players that really played very many Champions League games for Man City. And he's well known for obviously creating something from nothing. And that is how you best describe a player known as Gabriel Jesus. But Martin Odegaard was hugely missed into that game, because Eze couldn't obviously provide what we call that line-breaking pass. You understand? Eze couldn't provide that line-breaking pass. And with him not being able to provide that line-breaking pass, it really created havoc at the side of Arsenal in as far as their creativity was really concerned. And my best substitutions, or my best takeoffs and keep-ons, I would have gone ahead to take off Martinelli. See Eze play on the left as a left forward. See Kai Havertz playing centrally in the central axis as a 10 behind Gabriel Jesus, and Madueke on the wide right. I think that would have gone ahead to stretch this, because you have 4 players playing in 4 attacking positions that could enable them really break the dreadlock at any particular time. You know, like Madueke went ahead to create that moment of magic. Eze would have gone ahead to pull out one, you know. Would have gone ahead to pull out one like that around when he was being played as a left forward. Jesus can and Kai Havertz can. But they got a penalty. Kai Havertz buried it home and it ended 1-1. Now, the result has to be settled down at the Emirates. And obviously, Arsenal stands a very huge chance. And for the very first time, Arsenal's gone ahead to concede first or trail behind in a Champions League game this season. You know, you see the things that are really hard to believe. You know, Arsenal has trailed for the very first time, but they haven't obviously gone ahead to lose. They've gone ahead to obviously keep their unbeaten run in this UEFA Champions League game. And I think this is the first draw. All of the 8 games they played in the group, in the first stage of the UEFA Champions League, they resulted into what? Draws and wins. Sorry, they resulted into wins, not draws. Now, the stats were as follows. 8 shots by Bayern Leverkusen. Arsenal had 7. 3 shots on target for either sides. 43% ball possession by Leverkusen. Arsenal had 57. But it changed a lot in the second half when Arsenal conceded, meaning that Arsenal could open up as they wanted. 438 passes completed by Leverkusen. And Arsenal went ahead to complete 509 passes. 87% passing accuracy by Bayern Leverkusen. 90% passing accuracy. 8 fouls by Bayern Leverkusen and 10 fouls by Arsenal. 4 yellow cards to the side of Bayern Leverkusen and 3 yellow cards to the side of Arsenal, meaning that those players have to note it out that they might be 1 yellow card away from missing out onto the next fixture. The next game, they should really look out to play very well. You understand? And 0 red cards were issued in this particular encounter. Then 0 offsides to Leverkusen and 1 offside to Arsenal. 2 corners to Bayern Leverkusen and 3 corners to the side of Arsenal. So that's how everything went ahead to happen down there at the Bay Arena in Germany. And it's the same result that Arsenal went ahead to get, you know, how many years back? Because 2002, those are 24 years back. You know, and when they paid a visit to Highbury before they moved to Emirates. Arsenal demolished them by 4-1. Will Arsenal rewrite history? We wait and see what Arsenal will obviously have to do in this particular encounter. So guys, thank you very much. And I remain Rokani David, and you guys are really the best. Keep it this channel and continue to subscribe. This is what? Third video of the day, don't so? So, more is coming. Man City is playing against a team known as... Man City is playing a team known as Real Madrid. Real Madrid has 2 goals, shockingly, without very many players. Valverde has come up and obviously scored a brace in there for you. So, we are here, and today we've gone ahead to see Leverkusen draw 1-1 with Arsenal, PSG it's 1-1 with Chelsea, Bodo Glimt 1, Sporting Lisbon 0, Real Madrid 2, Man City 0. So that's how the fixtures are. Bacola scores for PSG, and Malo Gusto levels it up for the side of Chelsea. Bye-bye.